Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, great to see you again. So I know you were in the room yesterday for the confirmation hearing for Russell Vought, Trump's pick for Director of Management and Budget, and you called him a crucial appointment. How do you think he did?
I think he did great. I think all the nominees did great. You know, President Trump selected individuals that are intelligent, that are articulate, and that are fighting, and they fight pleasantly. You'll notice that none of them really taking the bait of sort of just the nastiness of the Democrats. And I just have to say, it's just galling to listen to Democrats wondering whether Trump's Justice Department is going to be weaponized against his political opponents. That is what they have been doing, quite honestly, throughout President Trump's first term, certainly during President Biden's term. It's a classic tactic of the left. Falsely accuse your political opponent of exactly what it is you do. So, no, I think the nominees are doing a great job, and I think President Trump really did a good job selecting them.
Yeah, Senator, throughout the hearings, I mean, we've seen the combative questions, the hypotheticals, the hyperventilating. I mean, even Russ wasn't safe from attempted gotcha moments when Senator Gary Peters accused him of abusing the National Emergency Act. Take a listen.
And I'm deeply concerned about reporting that indicates that you designed the plan to abuse the National Emergency Act to circumvent laws passed by Congress by moving military construction money to build the border wall.
Senator, with regard to that instance in our first term, we were specifically using the transfer authority that had been provided in the language of the Department of Defense appropriations to be able to transfer that authority to the Army Corps of Engineers for its use on the border wall. It was specifically a transfer authority that Congress had given the president in the underlying appropriation.
Oops. So do you think they're going to continue along these kinds of attacks, or do you think they're actually going to change their strategy with all of these picks coming up?
No, again, they'll continue to be nasty. You know, notice what they're not concerned about is the fact that in 2019 we spent $4.4 trillion, and now for the last 5 years we've averaged $6.5 trillion. We've increased the size of government by $2.1 trillion on average. And right now we're spending about $7 trillion, so that's $2.6 trillion higher. Democrats have no concern about that. What they're concerned about is a dispute over did they properly transfer money within the Defense Department to build the fence to keep America secure. That's what Democrats are concerned about. Again, it's just galling to listen to them. But I think what they're primarily doing is revealing how awful the Biden administration was and how it's made us so unsecure.
Yeah, you make a good point. And DHS Secretary nominee Kristi Noem, so she was originally set to appear yesterday as well. However, that was postponed to tomorrow due to a delay in her FBI background check, as you know. So what are you expecting from that hearing? Do you think we see a similar tone to that of Pete Hegseth's hearing that was pretty volatile?
Yeah, my guess is exactly. I mean, Democrats are nasty. You know, they play politics. It's a blood sport to them. All they want to do is grow the size of government. And for some reason, they're dedicated to open borders. But obviously, America is not. I think it's one of the main issues, one of the main reasons President Trump won is his primary pledge was to secure the border. And what we'll hear from Governor Noem is exactly how she and President Trump and Tom Homan plan to secure it.
You know, Senator, before we let you go, I want to ask you about the LA wildfires. I know you were on with us a week or so ago. You talked about attaching conditions to aid given to California. Now, the more we learn about these fires, the more mismanagement we actually see that could have, you know, they could have lessened the devastation. What do you think Congress will do here to prevent this from happening again?
Well, they'll probably just throw $100, $200 billion at the problem. But again, it should be conditioned on California waking up and starting to manage its environment properly. What is so tragic about what we're learning about how this was not only predictable, it was predicted, which means it was probably entirely preventable. You can't prevent the fires, but you can prevent them from becoming the tragedy with dozens of people losing their lives and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars worth of lost property. That was grotesque political and mismanagement by Governor Newsom, by the mayor, by the police chief, who did not have things pre-positioned when they knew that these high winds were going to potentially cause these kind of conditions. So, again, grotesque mismanagement. This was preventable, and they've got to change their ways.
Information. truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.